slow dolly push through a dimly lit casino floor. Ambient chatter and electronic chimes layer over a rhythmic mechanical clack. Close up, a player's hand hovering over the spin button, hesitating. A casino manager just watched someone walk out with $840 from a $10 bill, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. No card counting. No collusion. Just a betting pattern so effective that casinos have tried everything to discourage it. But they can't ban it. Because technically, you're just playing the game. In the next 20 minutes, you're going to learn the exact three-phase betting system that turns random slot play into disciplined profit-taking. You'll see why it drives floor managers crazy, how ex-casino employees finally exposed it, and most importantly, how you can use it on your very next trip. But here's the thing, this only works if you follow the pattern exactly. Skip one step, get greedy at the wrong moment, and you'll end up like everyone else, broke and frustrated. Before we break down the exact steps, you need to understand why this works. Slot machines don't have memory. Every spin is controlled by a random number generator running continuously, producing outcomes that are statistically independent. Casinos don't need to cheat because the RNG and game design already guarantee them an edge of 8 to 12% on most machines. But here's what casinos don't advertise. Slots operate on something called volatility cycles. Not in terms of when they pay, that's truly random, but in terms of how they pay. You've got dead zones where the machine eats your money spin after spin. You've got teasing zones where you get small wins that are actually losses, when you bet $2.50 and win back $1.25, and the machine celebrates like you just hit the jackpot. And then you've got action zones, where the machine starts giving back. Small bonuses, decent line hits, stacked wilds, the good stuff. The problem? Most players bet the same amount through all three zones. They're bleeding money in the dead zone, breaking even in the teasing zone, and not capitalizing enough in the action zone. That's where the $10 pattern comes in. It's designed to minimize damage when the machine is cold and maximize profit when it heats up, not by predicting randomness, but by reacting to observable patterns in variance clustering. Let me tell you about Richard. Richard had been coming to his local casino 3 times a week for 2 years. Always played the same Buffalo machine. Always the same $2 bet. One night, a casino host pulled him aside during a smoke break and said something shocking. The host told Richard, "The machine you're playing has paid out 6 times in the last 4 hours to other players. But you've been sitting there for 90 minutes losing because you're betting the same way the entire time." The host explained that the players who won didn't get lucky, they recognized when the machine shifted into an action phase and adjusted their bets accordingly. Richard didn't believe him at first. He thought it was just the casino trying to get him to bet bigger. But curiosity got the better of him. The next week, he tried a different approach. He started with small bets, watched the machine's behavior, and when he saw 3 small wins within 20 spins, he doubled his bet for exactly 10 spins. Then he dropped back down. In 90 minutes, Richard turned $60 into $310. The host saw him leaving and just gave him a knowing nod. That conversation changed everything for Richard. But here's the thing, Richard didn't have a structured plan. He was winging it based on a tip. The $10 pattern we're about to break down? That's the plan, refined and tested. The $10 pattern is a structured betting progression designed specifically for machines with 40 to 50 pay lines and a denomination range that lets you bet between 40 cents and $5 per spin. The most common setup is penny slots where you can adjust your coin value. Here's the foundation. You walk into the casino with $100, but you're only activating $10 at a time per machine. That's critical. You're not sitting at one machine grinding through $100. You're scouting and testing with $10 increments. Think of it like fishing, you're not casting one line in one spot all day. You're testing multiple spots to find where the fish are biting. Phase 1, the scout phase. You sit down at a machine. You bet the absolute minimum that covers all pay lines. On most penny slots, that's 40 to 50 cents per spin. You make exactly 20 spins at this bet level. No more, no less. During these 20 spins, you're tracking 3 things: how many spins gave you any win, even if it's less than your bet? How many spins gave you a win equal to or greater than your bet? Did you trigger any bonus symbol teases, like 2 scatters when you need 3? If you got fewer than 5 wins total in those 20 spins, you leave immediately. That machine is in a dead zone. You just spent $10 to save yourself 90. If you got 5 to 8 wins but most were less than your bet, it's a teasing zone. You can stay, but you're not increasing your bet yet. But if you got 8 or more wins, and at least 3 of them paid equal to or more than your bet, congratulations. You just found an action zone machine. This is where the pattern gets interesting. Phase 2, the ramp. Once you've identified an action zone machine, you switch gears. You increase your bet to exactly double your scout bet. If you were betting 50 cents, you now bet $1 per spin. You make 10 spins at this level. If those 10 spins produce at least 4 wins and you're still net positive from your starting $10, you move to phase 3. If not, you drop back to scout bet and give it another 10 spins. This is the safety mechanism that most players ignore. They hit one good stretch and think the machine is going to keep paying forever. It won't. The ramp phase tests whether the machine is staying in action mode or slipping back into teasing mode. It's your confirmation checkpoint. Without it, you're gambling on momentum instead of data. Phase 3 is where casinos start sweating. This is the aggression phase. You increase your bet to 4 times your scout bet. If you were scouting at 50 cents, you're now at $2 per spin. You make exactly 15 spins at this level. Why 15? Because slot bonuses on most games trigger on average between 80 and 150 spins. If you've already done 30 spins in scout and ramp phases, you're in the statistical window where bonuses are more likely. During these 15 spins, one of 3 things happens. 1. You hit a bonus round, and you cash out immediately after it pays. No exceptions. 2. You hit multiple line wins that put you up significantly, maybe $40 to $80 profit, and you cash out. 3. You hit nothing substantial, and you drop back to scout bet for another 20 spins. This is the discipline part that separates winners from losers. You don't chase. You don't think just 5 more spins. You follow the pattern. Period. Let me introduce you to Patricia. Patricia used this exact pattern at a local casino for 6 months straight. She documented every session in a notebook, old school, pen and paper. Her starting bankroll was always $100. Her goal was never to win big. Her goal was to leave with $150 to $200. Out of 47 casino visits, she achieved her goal 31 times. That's a 66% success rate. On the 16 times she didn't hit her goal, she lost an average of $60, because she stopped when her 100 was down to 40 and walked away. Her total profit over 6 months? $2,890. That's not life-changing money, but it's consistent money. And here's the important part, Patricia never once got greedy. She never said, I'm up 150, let me go for 300. The moment she hit 150 to 200 profit, she cashed out and left the building. Not left the machine, left the building. That's the difference between a slot strategy and a slot fantasy. Now, you're probably wondering, does this work on every machine? No. And that's important to understand. This pattern works best on medium volatility slots. Games like Buffalo, Lightning Link, Dancing Drums, and most Aristocrat or IGT multiline games. It does not work well on high volatility progressives like Wheel of Fortune or Megabucks. Why? Because those games are designed to have massive dry spells followed by rare huge wins. The $10 pattern is built for steady action, not lottery-style gambling. It also doesn't work on low volatility games like most classic 3-reel slots, because those pay so frequently that you can't identify action zones. The pattern needs variance to be effective. Here's a critical mistake most players make that kills this strategy before it even starts: they don't cover all the lines. If a game has 50 lines, they bet on 20 lines to keep their total bet low. Here's why that's a disaster. Winning combinations can land on any line. If you're not covering all lines, you're essentially playing a slot machine with blinders on. You might hit a jackpot combination on line 38, but since you only bet on lines 1 through 20, you get nothing. Former slot technicians confirm this is one of the biggest mistakes they see. Instead of reducing lines, reduce your coin value. If the minimum bet to cover all 50 lines is too high for your budget, find a different machine. Never, and I mean never, play a multi-line slot without covering every single line. That's like playing poker and deciding you're only going to use half your cards. It makes no sense. Let's talk about the psychological traps that destroy this pattern, because knowing the system is only half the battle. Executing it under pressure is where most people fail. Trap 1. Recency bias. You hit a $60 bonus on spin 12 of your aggression phase. You're feeling good. You're up 70 total. The pattern says cash out. But your brain says, that just hit, so it's probably going to hit again soon. Wrong. Slot machines don't have memory. The random number generator doesn't know or care that you just won. The next spin has the exact same odds as the spin before the bonus. The pattern tells you to cash out because statistically you're entering a higher risk zone. The machine just paid out. The math says it's more likely to go cold now, not stay hot. When you ignore the pattern and keep playing, you're gambling on hope, not strategy. Trap 2. The near-miss illusion. You're in your aggression phase. Spin 8, you see 2 bonus symbols land. Spin 11, 2 more bonus symbols. Your brain screams, it's about to hit. So you keep going past your 15 spin limit. But here's the truth that ex-casino employees know, those near misses are often programmed into the game. Recent research shows that near-miss outcomes reliably increase the motivation to continue gambling and speed up play. Game designers know that seeing 2 out of 3 symbols makes you feel close, which makes you keep playing. But mathematically, 2 symbols is no closer to 3 symbols than 0 symbols. Every spin is independent. The machine isn't building toward anything. It's just random outcomes dressed up with exciting graphics. Trap 3. Environmental manipulation. Casino managers know about betting patterns like this. They can't stop them, but they do try to discourage them. How? By making you comfortable. Free drinks. Friendly conversation. Loud celebrations when someone nearby wins. All of it is designed to keep you in your seat longer than the pattern allows. One casino manager admitted that their goal is to increase time on device, that's their internal metric. The longer you sit at a machine, the more money the casino makes on average. You're up 120 and a cocktail waitress asks if you want another drink. You say yes because it's free. Now you're committed to sitting there for another 10 minutes while you wait for it and drink it. During those 10 minutes, you've done 20 more spins at $2 each. You've just put $40 back at risk. That free $8 drink just cost you nothing, and potentially cost you $40. Here's the exact step-by-step process you should follow on your next casino visit. Before you even park your car, decide your walk-away number. For a $100 bankroll, a good target is $180 to $200 total. That's $80 to $100 profit. It's realistic, achievable, and meaningful. Step 1. Walk in, get your player's card, and scout the floor. Don't sit at the first machine you see. Spend 5 minutes just observing. Watch what other players are doing. Are people winning? Are machines paying? Or is the whole floor cold? Step 2. Pick your first test machine. It should be a medium volatility multi-line slot. Buffalo, Lightning Link, Dancing Drums, you know the type. Step 3. Start your scout phase. 20 spins at minimum bet covering all lines. Track your results carefully. Based on your scout results, either move to a new machine or enter ramp phase. Step 4. If you enter ramp phase and it confirms action, move to aggression phase. The moment you hit your walk-away number or complete your phase limits, cash out immediately. Step 5, and this is where 90% of people fail, don't stop at another machine on the way out. Don't celebrate with one more try. Go to the cashier, get your money, and leave. Leave the building. A player named Jerome followed this pattern religiously for 4 months. He never deviated. He walked in with $100 every single time. His walk-away number was 180. In 4 months, he went to the casino 22 times. He hit his walk-away number 14 times. He lost his full 106 times. The other 2 times, he left with 50 to 70 remaining after deciding the casino was cold that day. His total profit? $1,320. But here's the interesting part. Jerome kept detailed notes. He noticed that Friday evenings and Sunday afternoons had the highest success rate for him. Tuesday and Wednesday mornings had the lowest. Was this because the casino changed the machines? No. It was because of player volume. More players meant more money cycling through the machines, which meant progressives and meters were building faster, which meant more action zones. Jerome wasn't smarter than the casino. He was just paying attention and adapting. Now let's talk about advanced tactics that separate good pattern players from great ones. Machine placement matters, not because casinos change payout percentages based on location, that's a myth, but because of player traffic and progressive jackpot accumulation. Machines near entrances and high traffic areas see more play. That means if there's a must-hit by progressive jackpot on that bank of machines, it's closer to triggering than one in a quiet corner. Former slot floor managers have confirmed that banks of machines near bathrooms, exits, and food courts generate 30% more quinning than identical machines tucked away in corners. Why does this matter for the $10 pattern? Because when you're scouting, you want to test machines that have seen recent action. Not because the machine remembers, it doesn't, but because more play means any progressive meters have been fed. Here's a specific tactic. Walk the floor once before sitting anywhere. Look at the progressive meters on machines. A lightning link bank shows a mini at $10, a minor at $47, and a major at $3.85. That minor is probably close to average payout range, somewhere between 40 and 60 typically. That major is low. It probably just hit recently. The smart play? Skip that bank and find one where the major is closer to 5 or 600. Not because you're guaranteed to hit it, you're not, but because if you do enter an action zone on that machine, your wins will be amplified by the higher meter values. This is advanced thinking, but it's how you squeeze every edge possible. There's a specific type of progressive called must-hit by or mystery progressives. These are jackpots that must trigger before reaching a certain amount. For example, a mini jackpot might say must hit by $50. If you see one sitting at $48.73, that's prime hunting territory. The jackpot is mathematically guaranteed to drop within the next $27 of total bets across all linked machines. Smart players camp these machines when they're close to the must-hit number. But here's where the $10 pattern gives you an advantage. Instead of just grinding at max bet hoping to be the one who triggers it, you use the scout phase to see if the machine is even in an action zone. If it is, then you ramp up and play aggressively. If it's not, you move on and let someone else feed it. You're combining jackpot proximity with machine behavior. That's next level. Now let's talk about some dark realities that casinos don't advertise. Return to player percentages vary wildly, even on the same game. Two identical Buffalo machines sitting side by side can have different RTP settings. One might be set to 92%, the other to 88%. The casino gets to choose. How do you know which is which? You don't. Not definitively. But the $10 pattern gives you a detection system. If you scout a machine and it's dead, you move on. You're not sitting there for an hour trying to figure out if it's set tight. You test, evaluate, and adapt. Here's another reality, the danger zone. This is the period right after someone hits a big jackpot. You see the lights flashing. You hear the music. A crowd gathers. Someone just won $2,000 on a machine. What do most players do? They watch until the winner leaves, then they swoop in and start playing that machine, thinking it's hot. That's exactly backward. When a machine just paid a large jackpot, short-term variance suggests it's more likely to go through a dry spell, not because it's programmed that way, but because statistically, big wins are followed by more common outcomes, which are losses. The $10 pattern protects you from this trap. If you scout that machine right after a big win, it'll fail your criteria. You'll get fewer than 5 wins in 20 spins, and you'll move on. Meanwhile, other players will sit there pumping money in, convinced they're next. They're not. A former slot attendant named Denise worked at a major casino for 12 years. She told a story about a machine that paid a $5,000 jackpot on a Saturday night. Within 20 minutes, 7 different players had sat down and played that machine. Every single one of them lost at least $200 trying to catch another big hit. By the end of the night, the machine had taken in over $3,000 from those players combined, and not one of them got anything significant back. Denise said she wanted to tell them to walk away, but she couldn't. That machine paid the casino back its $5,000 loss in less than 4 hours. That's how variance works. The pattern would have saved every one of those players. Here's something most players never consider: denomination matters more than you think. A penny slot at MaxBet, let's say $2.50 per spin, is not the same as a quarter slot at $2.50 per spin. The quarter slot will almost always have better RTP. Why? Because casinos can afford to be more generous on higher denomination games. They know fewer people play them, so they set the return percentages higher to attract players. A study from the Nevada Gaming Control Board showed that penny slots have an average RTP of 88 to 90%, while dollar slots average 93 to 95%. That 3 to 5% difference is massive over time. If you're betting $1,000 through a machine in a session, that's $30 to $50 difference in expected return. That's real money. If you're going to use the $10 pattern, consider using it on quarter or dollar machines instead of pennies. Your scout phase costs more, $5 to $10 instead of $10, but the machines pay better. Your wins in aggression phase will be larger on average. The trade-off is you need a bigger bankroll, probably 150 to 200 instead of 100. But if you can afford it, the math works better in your favor. Let's talk about common variations of this pattern that people try, and why they fail. Failure 1, the impatient scout. Someone tries this pattern but only does 10 scout spins instead of 20 because they're bored. The problem is 10 spins isn't enough data. You might hit a dead zone on spins 11 through 20 that would have told you to leave, but you didn't see it because you skipped ahead. So you enter ramp phase on bad information, lose money, and blame the pattern. The pattern didn't fail. You did. Failure 2, the greedy aggression phase. Someone enters aggression phase, hits a $50 bonus on spin 8, and thinks, if I keep going, I might hit another one. They extend from 15 spins to 30 spins and lose everything they just won. The pattern says 15 spins maximum. The reason is mathematical. The longer you stay in aggression phase, the more variance works against you. You're betting high, which means losses hurt more. The pattern gives you a window to catch the action. It doesn't let you live in it. Failure 3, the tiny bankroll test. Someone tries this pattern with $40 instead of $100. They do one scout phase, don't find action, try a second machine, and they're broke before they've given the pattern a real chance. The $10 per machine rule requires at least $80 to $100 to be effective. If you don't have that, this pattern isn't for you yet. Save up and come back when you do. Here's something casinos absolutely hate about this pattern: it's completely legal. You're not counting cards. You're not colluding with other players. You're not using any device or system that violates gaming regulations. You're simply choosing when to bet more and when to bet less based on observation. And that makes casino managers furious because there's nothing they can do. Some casinos have tried to combat pattern betting by implementing loss limits or win limits on player cards, but those only work if you volunteer to use them. Others train their hosts to identify pattern players and offer them comps to distract them. One former pit boss said they used to watch for players who would sit down, play a set number of spins, and leave. If they saw that behavior multiple times, they'd send a host over with a free buffet coupon or a drink voucher, anything to break the pattern. The player would take the comp, feel appreciated, and then stay longer than they planned. The casino won. The player lost. The defense against this is simple: politely decline all comps while you're actively playing your pattern. If you want a free meal, get it after you've cashed out and are leaving. Don't let a $12 buffet derail a $150 win. Let's address the biggest question everyone asks: does this actually work long term, or is it just short-term luck? The honest answer is, it works in the short term and gives you better odds in the long term, but it's not a guaranteed income system. Slot machines are still designed with a house edge. On most games, that's 8 to 12%. That means over thousands and thousands of spins, the casino will win 8 to 12% of all money wagered. The $10 pattern doesn't eliminate the house edge. What it does is minimize your exposure to it. By scouting with small bets, you're risking less money to find the right opportunities. By ramping systematically, you're catching action phases with bigger bets instead of grinding through dead phases. And by having hard stop rules, you're protecting your wins instead of giving them back. If you use this pattern correctly, your average loss on a bad day should be $40 to $60, not $100. And your average win on a good day should be $80 to $150. Over time, that tilts the math more in your favor than standard play. Here's one more real-world example. A player named Sandra walked into a casino with $100. She followed the scout phase on a dancing drums machine. After 20 spins at 50 cents, she'd won on 11 spins, clear action zone. She moved to ramp phase at $1 per spin. In 10 spins, she won on 5 of them and was up $18. She moved to aggression phase at $2 per spin. On spin 6 of her aggression phase, she triggered the bonus round. It paid $128. Her total bankroll was now $228. She immediately cashed out. Total time played? 28 minutes. Total profit? $128. She walked past 14 other slot machines on her way out. Every single one of them was calling to her, bright lights, fun sounds, other people winning. But she kept walking because the pattern said her session was over. And that discipline is why Sandra has been profitable over 9 months using this exact method. She's not rich. She's not quitting her job. But she's consistently taking money out of casinos instead of leaving it there. Here's your final action plan. Save this video or take notes, because you're going to follow this exactly on your next casino visit. Number 1. Bring $100. No more, no less. Leave your credit cards in the car. Set your walkaway goal at $180. Write it down. Put it in your phone. Make it real. Number 2. Scout 3 machines using 20 spins at minimum bet. Track wins carefully. Don't skip this step. Don't rush it. 20 spins means 20 spins. Number 3. If you find an action zone, execute the ramp phase. 10 spins at double your scout bet. Confirm the action is real. Number 4. If ramp confirms, execute aggression phase. 15 spins at 4 times your scout bet. Set a timer if you need to. Stay disciplined. Number 5, and this is the most important one, the instant you hit 180 or complete your phase limits, cash out and leave. Not cash out and play one more machine. Not cash out and grab a drink. Cash out and walk to your car. Number 6, review your notes. What worked? What didn't? Which machine showed action? Which didn't? Build your database. Come back in a week and repeat. After 5 sessions, you'll have a clear picture of whether this pattern works for your casino, your games, and your discipline level. Before we wrap up, let's kill a few myths that refuse to die. Myth 1, hot and cold machines. People think machines go through cycles where they're hot and pay frequently, then cold and don't pay. That's not how it works. Every spin is random. But, and this is important, volatility means that random outcomes cluster. You can have 50 spins with no wins, then 10 spins with 6 wins. That's not the machine getting hot. That's variance clustering. The $10 pattern doesn't rely on hot and cold machines. It relies on recognizing when variance is clustering in your favor during your scout phase. If you catch a cluster, you capitalize. If you don't, you move on. You're not predicting the future. You're reacting to the present. Myth 2, the machine is due to pay. Casinos love it when players believe this. Why? Because those players will sit at a cold machine waiting for it to turn hot. Or they'll leave a machine right when variance is about to swing their way. The casino wins either way. The $10 pattern removes that guesswork. You don't wait for anything. You test, evaluate, and act based on data, not feelings. Myth 3, sitting at one machine increases your odds. Some players think loyalty to a machine matters. It doesn't. The RNG doesn't reward you for time spent. The pattern's strength is in its mobility, testing multiple machines to find the ones currently in favorable variance clusters. That's strategic play, not wishful thinking. Let's talk about the psychology of winning, because this is where most people sabotage themselves even when the pattern works. You follow the scout phase. You find an action zone. You execute the ramp. You move to aggression. On spin 12, you hit a $70 line win. You're up $93 total. The pattern says cash out. But something happens in your brain. Dopamine floods your system. You feel invincible. You feel lucky. And you think, this is my night. If I just keep going, I could turn this 93 into 300. That feeling, that biochemical certainty that you're on a roll, that's what destroys 90% of pattern players. The pattern exists specifically to override that feeling. It's not based on emotion or momentum or luck. It's based on mathematics and risk management. When you follow the pattern, you're not fighting your instincts with willpower, you're replacing instinct with protocol. You don't decide whether to cash out. The pattern decides for you. That removes the emotional load. That's why it works. 3 final warnings before we close. Warning 1, this pattern requires discipline you may not have yet. If you've never walked away from a winning machine in your life, this pattern will test you. Start small. Prove to yourself you can follow the rules. Then scale up. Warning 2, this pattern does not work if you're chasing losses. If you walk into a casino trying to win back money you lost last week, you're already gambling emotionally. The pattern requires a calm, systematic mindset. If you can't bring that, don't use this pattern. You'll sabotage it. Warning 3, gambling addiction is real and it's serious. If you find yourself thinking about slots constantly, hiding your play from family, or risking money you can't afford to lose, this pattern won't save you. Seek help. Contact your local problem gambling helpline. The National Council on Problem Gambling has a 24-hour confidential helpline at 1-800-522-4700. Use it if you need it. So why is this pattern different from every other slot system you've heard about? 3 reasons. 1. It's based on observable machine behavior, not superstition. You're not looking for lucky machines or hot seats. You're testing variance patterns with a structured sample size. 2. It has built-in risk management. Scout phase limits your exposure. Ramp phase confirms action before you risk big. Aggression phase has a hard stop. You're not freestyling. You're following a protocol that protects your bankroll. 3. It's completely legal and undetectable. You're not using any device. You're not exploiting any flaw. You're simply making informed betting decisions based on recent performance. Casinos can't ban observation and they can't ban smart money management. That's why this pattern drives them crazy, and why it works. I spoke with a former casino floor manager who worked in Las Vegas for 8 years. He asked to remain anonymous, but he confirmed everything we've discussed. When I asked him what type of player casinos fear most, he didn't say high rollers or advantage players. He said this: the players who scare us are the ones who walk in with a plan and stick to it. The ones who set a win goal and leave when they hit it. The ones who don't let us keep them comfortable. We're trained to identify those players and disrupt their patterns, offer them dinner reservations, send hosts to chat them up, anything to break their rhythm. Because if they stay systematic, they're going to win more often than the tourists who just sit and spin. That's a direct quote from someone who spent years optimizing casino profits. He just confirmed that the $10 pattern works, and that casinos actively try to stop players who use discipline. So here's my final challenge for you. Which of these phases do you think will be hardest for you to follow? The scout phase, because it's boring and you want action? The aggression phase, because it's nerve-wracking and you'll be betting more than you're comfortable with? Or the cash-out phase, because it requires walking away from excitement and possibility? Drop your answer in the comments. And tell me, what's your typical starting bankroll when you visit the casino? Are you working with $50? $100? $200? I'm curious where everyone's at. If this pattern makes sense and you're planning to test it, hit that like button. If you want more casino strategies that actually work, based on math, discipline, and real player results, subscribe and turn notifications on. And here's the thing, share this with your casino friends, but maybe not everyone. The more people running this pattern, the more crowded those action zones get. This only works if it stays relatively underground. So share strategically. Remember, casinos win because most people walk in with no plan. They sit, they spin, they hope. The $10 pattern flips that script. You have rules. You have phases. You have discipline. That's how you walk out ahead while everyone else is still chasing. You're not going to get rich doing this. You're not going to quit your job. But you can consistently take money out of casinos instead of leaving it there. And in a game designed for you to lose, that's a massive win. The pattern works. The question is, will you work the pattern? This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Gambling should always be done responsibly and within your means. No betting system can eliminate the house edge or guarantee profits. Slot machines are games of chance designed to favor the casino long term. If gambling is affecting your life, relationships, or finances negatively, please contact the National Council on Problem Gambling at 1-800-522-4700 for free, confidential support. Play smart. Follow the pattern. And I'll see you at the cashier window. Good luck out there.